terms of where you're supposed to aim at as you're coming, once you get the ball and you're headed towards the line of scrimmage. We talked about pressing it, running behind your pads, keeping your lane going forward. I mean, just a lot of little detail things that were really good for him, and really create a little bit of vision or imagery in his mind so that he kind of saw what Coach Jordan was talking about.
And then obviously, with Chase and not Montez not there, and as everybody says, next man up in this league and all that, but you are losing two guys who are big, athletic, can move like that. What do you lose when you don't have those guys out there?
Well, for the most part, you answered it, John.
Oh,
they're big, they're athletic, and they can move. Those guys are hard to find. But one thing that did stand out, that he's done very well this year. Obviously, has been his run stop. I thought Chase has been solid as far as that part of the game. I know there were some things in his pass rush that he's been working on. He had a really good week last week. That's also disappointed it happened so early in the game because he had a really, really good week, and we were anxious to watch him. There were some good moments early in the game until he got hurt, and it was promising. So, but you do lose the threat of that type of player coming off the edge right now. We got a couple of more like workman guys that will be getting opportunities, and we'll see how they handle it.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Ron, just to follow up on that, with those guys out, it looked like maybe there was a little more blitzing in the second half of the game yesterday against Tampa. How do you, going forward, how do you plan to generate your pass rush without, elite guys on the outside?
Well, I mean, you brought it up, probably, JP. One of the things that we'll most certainly have to take a real long look at is, to be able to create and generate some pressure. We are going to have to blitz probably. We're going to have to do some different things, move some people in and out. It'll be interesting to see how this develops. I'm excited. I know Jack and the staff will be working on that come later today once we start focusing in on our next opponent.
And then the team website posted a video of you doing your post-game speech in the locker room, a pretty jubilant moment, obviously, and you talked about Victory Monday. What kind of specifically do you like to do or give the players, or is it just a player's day off? What does Victory Monday mean?
That means that the players get to celebrate a little bit longer on Monday, and they don't have to come in and watch the tape until Wednesday. It's an opportunity for them to kind of just relax a little bit. Guys will come in, they'll do their testing. They'll get workouts in, they'll get treatments and stuff like that. But for the most part, they really have nothing else required other than to take care of themselves. It's actually the first one I've given them in a year and a half, in a season and a half. And it was kind of a pretty emotional thing for our guys. It was a big win. They had a big week. They really focused. I thought the coaching was excellent this week. I thought the focus was excellent this week, coming off the bye. I really did. A lot of times getting the guys back to take a couple of days, but they came in on Monday and Wednesday and we're rolling. And it just kind of built up a little bit of momentum going into Thursday and Friday.
B-Mitch said it reminded him of Andy saying, "See you Wednesday." So
yeah, that's pretty much what that was.
All right. Thank you.
Hey, Ron, how do you think the interior pass rush will be affected with Chase Young and Montez Sweat out? Will they still be able to be like, is the interior hurt by them not being there, or does that kind of help, like Shaka Tony and Casey Toohill, because those guys are in the middle?
I think the guys that we have enough athleticism to continue with the outside pressure. They do. I mean, they're just guys that nobody really knows. They haven't really had a lot of opportunities. But when you watch the tape and you see some of the things, there's some pretty good efforts out there. You watch. We watched Casey. Did some really good things. We feel Casey's athletic enough that we could drop him into coverage a couple times, and you guys saw him break on the ball, help make some big tackles. James Williams-Smith is more of a physical what we call a six technique guy that can play a little bit more head up on the tight end and be very stout against them. We got Shaka, who we do like a lot. We think he's got some juice to him. And Routine Me, and I know I butchered and I apologize, but Boone Me has done a nice job. He's got some good quickness, some good athleticism. He had a pretty good camp as well. So we're anxious to watch these guys play.
And for Jonathan Allen and Daron Payne, just how do you think they're affected with Young and Sweat out? Will they still be able to be productive, you think?
Well, I'd like to believe so. I mean, you keep guys on the roster because you think that if something does happen, they can fit that next man up role. And if they do, which I do believe they will, it'll help those guys continue to be productive. Obviously, because then the quarterbacks will have to step up. And again, we're going to work that. We'll do the best we can. And, our hands are tied a little bit, but we'll see, because these are opportunities, and guys that get opportunities, a lot of times, hopefully they'll step up.
No, you're still inside the 24 hours to enjoy this one, but you do get to go back to Charlotte on Sunday. What are the emotions of that going to be like for you?
They're cool, Michael, but I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not going to address this until Wednesday. Okay. I appreciate the question, but my whole thought process is, like you said, let's go ahead and enjoy this one. Let's focus in on them. And then Wednesday, when I obviously got to address the questions, I will, but I appreciate the thought.
Sure thing. And then you mentioned yesterday that the secondary really played together. Seems like those guys are finding a groove. Did you sense something in practice, see something from them? What
Yes.
clicked?
It's been interesting, Michael, but one thing that I really appreciate is the way they've been communicating even more so. And they're doing it with confidence, which really kind of leads me to believe that, that they're starting to get that feel of when guys have been together a while, they have a little bit of a feel that something's, you only need to say certain things. You only need to look a certain way. And that's what you want to get to. And we're still working that way, but you see them seem to just feel like they can handle things more with really good communication. And to me, that's a big step. It really looked good. Like I said, they came in on Monday and Wednesday, and which is really, when you're coming off the bye, you always worry about those two days, and they really handled it well. So I was pretty fired up, pretty excited about them.
Hey, Ron, what's next for Chase, and how much do you anticipate him being in the building as he goes through this rehab process?
Well, he has surgery obviously coming up, and then and then his recovery, and we most certainly do hope to have him here. We have a real good PT on staff that we feel very good with. And the sooner we get him here and get the doctor's directions and stuff like that, we can get going on.
And in terms of Antonio Gibson, with the tough running he was able to do yesterday, as well as catching those slants and things like that, how far along on his development to being a complete running back do you feel like he is?
Well, we feel really good about what we've seen the last few weeks, and coming out of the bye, he was really solid. Again, it was one of the things, like I said, that Randy and I and Coach King, we all talked about a couple of things we felt that could really help him. He seemed to take those things to heart, and I was really pleased to see the things that he did. One thing that we did do was we did incorporate a little bit more into the quick passing game, because he is a good route runner coming out of college, having been a wide receiver, and he's a big body to tackle. So that was one of the really good things.
Thank you.
All righty.
David Aldridge.
Ron, forgive me if I was a couple minutes late. I know if you knew the answer to this, you would tell the players this, but the tackling seemed to be so much better yesterday than it had been all season. What do you think they picked up or got better at that allowed them to put, especially Fournette, on the ground, but also some of the other receivers that Tampa has?
Well, you know what? I did like the physicality in which we played with. And one of the things I know that Jack and the defensive staff talked about was trying to limit the run after catch as much as possible and being very physical with their playmakers. They got a couple of guys that are just, outstanding football players in Godwin and Evans and Brake, for that matter, at tight end, and Fournette coming out of the backfields, that we had to get our hands on those guys. We couldn't have space between us. The rack is the thing that they seem to have a lot of success with, the run after the catch. So we wanted to make sure we were tight, matching our coverage, connecting with those guys. I thought they did an excellent job, our guys, in terms of connecting and then passing and playing with vision. A couple of times we lost our vision and they got a couple of big plays out of it, and it did show. But when we were where we needed to be, doing the things that we needed to do, we felt pretty comfortable about being able to get after them. And that's one thing that was really good. I think the physicality in terms of when the ball was being delivered, guys were getting hit. I think that led to an early turnover, obviously. And then the second one was the body presence on the second interception that Bobby had. Because if you watch it, what happens is, I believe it was Cole rolls under the Evans, who was coming through the middle. And I think that created the need for the quarterback, for Tom to feel like he had to elevate that throw a little bit.
Was Cole especially good at carrying guys in zone yesterday?
Yeah, well, to be honest, I thought him, Jamin, and Landon, for that matter, played really well underneath. One time Jamin rolled a little too much and carried a little deeper than he had to, and it showed. They found, Tom found the open guy, but for the most part, those guys were where they needed to be in terms of handling the crossers and really the immediate underneath, which was big for us. Because again, if we make the guy hold the ball a little bit, he's gonna have to either throw it into tighter windows or he'll throw it away. And we were able to be successful that way.
Thank you.
Scott's play calling is always evaluated, and after wins, people say, man, he called a really good game. But to you, what maybe made that game script so good, and maybe where does it stack up in terms of games he's called for Washington in the past year and a half?
Well, I haven't had a problem with his play calling. I really haven't. I mean, again, there's a lot of things that go into a successful play. And so I have not had a problem or an issue with his play calling. I do know, though, that the balance that we were able to play with, you get a lead, hold the lead, and you play good defense, it makes it a little bit easier to call plays on both sides of the ball, to be honest with you. And so when you talk about complete victories, this was one of those, because again, we managed and handled things. Look at the time of possession we had. I mean, we had almost double of their time of possession, and that's a huge comfort to the defensive side of the ball. But it also means you have a really good rhythm. One of the things I was really pleased with was that we were able to run the ball when we knew they knew we had to run the ball. That was big, and that was big on the way our offensive line played. So, I do think that you look at the success we had in the red zone. We were 2 for 4. I mean, we got down there and we scored points. It accounted for 20 points, and so when you can do that and capitalize, I think that's important. And again, I think the situation, circumstances in the game really allowed us to be very, very balanced. If we can be balanced, if we can distribute the ball to 10 different players, that gives us a chance to be successful.
And I know you've always said that interior defensive line pressure is a big thing for you, John Allen, providing it pretty consistently. What is his calling card as a pass rusher? What is he doing so well this year?
He's physical at the point of attack more so than anything else. You get a lot of guys that stutter and float looking for an opportunity. Jonathan just goes forward, and it's the quickest route to the quarterback is straight ahead. And when he's doing that, he's having success. And then he's got a tremendous hump move. I don't want to compare it to Reggie White's, but it's still a pretty good hump move. And it's, it gives him a chance to get vertical, get into the quarterback's lap, and cause some problems. I think his hit on the first third down, I think, was a little bit of a disruptor, and I think it's really kind of help our guys get going.
Rhiannon's not on here, so we'll go Chris Russell. We have time for 4 more questions. 4 more questions.
Hey, Ron. Early on, it looked like Taylor was seeing the field real well, decisive, quick with reads, especially the one to DeAndre on the far sideline, and then the 3rd and 7 to Antonio Gibson. Can you notice that from your vantage point along your sideline in a game like that early, or does it take you a little while to see whether your quarterback, in this case Heineke, is again seeing the field well and really kind of good timing and all the maybe things that he's struggled a little bit with?
Well, he did have some good timing, and there were some good things that went on. Route running was really sharp and crisp. It's one of those things that when you get the opportunity to set up back there and really go through your progressions, that's an interesting thing. But his decision making was very sharp, and that's one of the things that we got to continue with is again being able to make those decisions. Make them quickly and get the ball out of your hands. When they started bringing pressure, they started mixing up their pressure. That was a little bit difficult. But we did catch them a couple of times, and Taylor made some really good decisions on when they were bringing pressure.
Hey, Ron, it came out yesterday that you guys, after the test with Ryan Fitzpatrick, that he's not going to play the rest of the year. Is it safe to say that he's done for the rest of the season?
I wouldn't say that necessarily, because I do know he's got another checkup, but it's trending that way, and we'll see. We'll see after he has the next checkup.
Ron, you never want to lose a guy like Chase Young. He's such a big voice in the locker room, on the sidelines. Can something like this, though, like losing a big player like that, maybe galvanize a locker room?
I think it will, because again, you have to rally the troops basically, and it's, it's just the way it is. Somebody has to step up. Somebody has to continue. Somebody's got to improve their play, and somebody will get an opportunity. That's one thing for darn sure, Scott, is that somebody's going to get an opportunity. And it may affect Jack too, the way he's going to approach how he wants to attack, the opponent. So it's going to be interesting to see how things go this week as far as game planning. I'm anxious to see some of the ideas that we'll come up with and be able to talk about as we go forward.
Darren Haynes, last one.
Hey, Ron, just to follow up on what Scott was just saying, can you explain to us some more? Because you're in the locker room, you hear Chase Young, that vocal, whatever he says to get those guys motivated, and what the players, his teammates, will miss out on not having him on the field vocally being that motivational type of guy.
And that's exactly it, Darren, because that's one of the things you want a guy that not only just says something, but at some point will make an impact play. That's the tough part that you have to be able to replace, is that when the guy makes an impact play, or the motivation he brings just from what he has to say. Like I said, somebody will have to step up. Somebody will have an opportunity to step up, and some will have an opportunity to play. And in all three instances, it'd be great to have somebody, make those plays and be able to, I don't want to say replace them, but be the next guy up.